Hey there, friends. Welcome back to Mindful Chatting on our Consultation Saturday series. Today, we're talking about something that quietly paralyzes a lot of clinicians, not just new ones, especially when they consider going into private practice. There's this tension between ethics and business because somewhere along the way, many of us absorb this belief that if I focus on money, I'm going to be less ethical. Or if I care about sustainability, I'm going to care less about my client. And if I build a really good system, well, I'm prioritizing profit over people. And that belief keeps clinicians kind of stuck. Today, we're going to unpack why that's really a false dichotomy and why business literacy is not the opposite of ethical care. It's often what protects it. Welcome to Mindful Chatting, a podcast where therapy meets real life. I'm Kristen, a therapist, business owner, and a lifelong student of what it means to fully show up in our relationships, in our work, and in our healing. Here, we unpack mental health concepts, explore mindfulness tools, and talk through the messy, beautiful, in-between moments that shape us. Whether you're a fellow clinician, a curious listener, or someone navigating your own growth, this space is for you. Let's chat. A lot of graduate programs emphasize client welfare. They minimize harm, avoid exploitation, and maintain your boundaries. All of those are extremely critical and very, very important. But what often happens implicitly in all of this is that money conversations are minimized, practice sustainability is kind of sidelined, and then financial literacy is treated as secondary or even suspect. So clinicians internalize care equals good and money equals risky. And instead of integrating the two, we kind of split them up. And that result is really a lot of chronic hesitation. And then we rate our anxiety, and then we have a lot of insurance confusion. We have avoiding contracts and just avoiding really any clarity. Not because clinicians don't care. That's usually quite opposite. It's actually we care very deeply. And underneath the ethics versus business tension is a lot of fear. We have a fear of overcharging, underserving, exploiting vulnerability, making inaccessible care, and appearing greedy. But here's the uncomfortable question. Is undercharging ethical if it leads to burnout? Is disorganized billing ethical if it creates instability? Is unclear policy ethical if it confuses clients? Sometimes what feels morally safe in the short term actually creates structural harm in the long term. And trust me, burned out clinicians, they'll counsel more. Overwhelmed clinicians reduce the quality of their work. And financially stressed clinicians carry anxiety into their sessions with them. Ethics isn't just about intention, it's about sustainability. Here's a quick note for my clinicians listening. If you're looking for a charting and practice management system that doesn't make you want to scream, well, guess what? I use TherapyNotes. It's clean, reliable, HIPAA compliant, and honestly saves me hours every week. You can try it with my link in the show notes. So let me reframe that. Business literacy allows you to set clear policies for you and your clients. It creates consistent scheduling, so there's predictability on your end and predictability on the client's end. You manage your documentation properly, not just for you and your sanity, but also if anyone needs that documentation. It helps you maintain boundaries, not only for a business sense, but as a clinician. It reduces this crisis-driven decision-making, which, let's say, that's a lot more riskier than anything else. Plus, it allows a plan for slow seasons, and it avoids resentment towards your clients and the business. That is ethical containment. A stable structure protects both the clinician and the client. Ethics is not just about preventing harm. It's about preventing collapse. And collapse often comes from avoidance of business structure. And many clinicians feel embarrassed to say, I want this work financially. But wanting sustainability is not greed, it's maturity. If your practice supports family, your mental health, your physical stability, your long-term career, well, then you're protecting your ability to show up for your client. The split between ethics and business often reflects unresolved money narrative, not the actual ethical conflict. For any clinicians tuning in, if insurance billing is the part of your practice that drains your soul, Headway will be your best friend. They get you credentialed, send you referrals, manage your billing, submit your claims, all the stuff none of us went to grad school for. It's free to join, and honestly, it's been a huge support for therapists who want to take insurance without drowning in the administration part. My link is in the show notes if you want to check it out. Instead of asking, how do I avoid caring about money? I want you to ask yourself, how do I align money with my value? So for example, a sliding scale built intentionally, not only for you financially to sustain it, but also for your client to be able to afford it. Clear cancellation policies. This is a big one. And this is something that should always be talked about in the beginning of your intake and constantly brought up when people cancel. And if you have a distinct policy, you can stand behind it and your clients will respect it. Transparent ease, upfront cost. Even when you use things like Headway, which I really support, there is a part of a client's dashboard that tells you what the client is going to pay for each session. There is this upfront, transparent thing of what's it going to cost for therapy. Defined scope of services. Right out the gate after an intake, you should be talking about the type of therapy modality you probably are thinking of using, along with the type of services you're going to be offering. And that conversation should be constantly brought up throughout sessions. And if there's a change or you're thinking about shifting to a new modality, you should be educating your clients about that particular modality as you're going through it. Choosing insurances strategically, not reactively. We think that sometimes when we go into private practice, we should be paneled with all of the insurances. And that might be true depending on where you're at in your season of practice. It could also be based on your location. But you have to think about what insurances are strategically going to financially help me so that I can support my business and also serve the clients in an ethical way. If I'm choosing an insurance company that may be giving me less money than what my normal rate is on a self-pay, that probably isn't the right insurance company. And maybe looking into things like Headway to be able to get to negotiate your fee can also help you still serve that population with that insurance, but maybe doing it in a different way. Integration of all of these things is ethical. The avoidance of all of these things makes you fragile. And in consultation spaces, this is where growth happens. Not in hype, not in the hustle, but in careful thinking and strategizing. We need to think about what supports you as a clinician. We need to think about what protects our client, but we also need to talk about what reduces future harm and what prevents you from future burnout. That is not business over ethics. That's system thinking. If you've ever felt stuck in the tension between caring and charging, between ethics and structure, between helping and sustainability, you are not unethical. You are navigating a split you were never taught to integrate in school. Business literacy does not weaken your ethic, it stabilizes it. So next Saturday, I hope you join me on our Consultation Saturday series. Until then, let's be gentle with our minds. One more thing before you go, and this helps me personally, staying present and grounded, which we all need, especially when your brain wants to spiral into disconnection. Me too. It's Brain FM. It's musically designed to help ADHD brains, well, really anyone's brain, focus, relax, or sleep, and I use it almost daily. If you want to try it, I've dropped my link in the show notes. And if you're looking for planning tools or ADHD-friendly resources, I'll keep a list of my favorite links in every episode.